Hey guys, thanks for clicking. I really appreciate that. So today we're going to talk about the infamous X-Blades. Are these things good? Are they worth it? Do they really make that much of a difference? What are the effects on the machine? So what we're going to do is we're going to cut some grass with one machine. We'll use the same machine so the comparison's fair. And then we're going to swap blades and we're going to do the same cuts with the X blades on there. And I'll share my thoughts on some of the things from using them because, we are a professional landscape company and we have used these machines with these X blades in all different environments. So thick grass, heavy grass, wet grass, leaves, all that kind of stuff. So let's go cut a few rows without the X blades first. I'll show you on video, we'll take pictures and you guys can see, and then we're gonna swap out, put the blades on, and we're gonna do the same exact kind of cuts, and you tell me what you think. So let's get this party started. All right, so this is the machine that we're gonna use. This is the FASTTRACK Hustler FASTTRACK SDX. This is a great machine. It has a 60-inch deck, which is a really good comparison to use, and we're gonna use one particular setup with the blades, and I'll show you that as we put them on. But first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump on this machine, we're gonna go out, we're gonna make a few passes, like I said before, and we'll go from there. Let's get it done. Okay, so we're out in the lawn here. I'm gonna show you what we have. It's not really too long of grass, but we got a lot of leaves here. It's pretty dry, so I'll show you what we have, and we're gonna make our first cuts over here. All right, here's the basic area. I'm gonna try and go back and forth this way. So we'll chop up some leaves and we'll cut some grass here.
Take a mental note on how far it throws the debris without the X-Blades, because you will see a comparison later and notice a big difference. I don't have them side to side, but just take a notice on how far it throws the debris without the X-Blades.
Okay, so we did a couple of comparison rows. Like I said, this is without the X blades. This is just a regular, I think it's the Oregon mulching blades, high lift mulching blades. I'll show you them when I take them off. And next I'm gonna do a quick thing is starting the blades on the machine so you can hear what it sounds like when it kicks in without the X blades and the difference, how much strain it puts on with the X blades on. Okay, so we're back in the shop now and we're going to swap out the blades. So let's get it jacked up and we'll show you what we're using and switch them over. Okay, so this is what we were running. These are the Oregon mulching blades. They're in pretty good shape. They're not terribly dull. We did use them for about a week or so, so we need to sharpen these up. But let's get the X blade set up now, and I'm going to show you a couple of things when you install them that you have to keep an eye on. Every mower is a little different, but this you have to watch the length of the bolt and these washers. So for this machine, we're going to use the same bolt. We're just not going to use the big compressed washers. These are they're tapered on one side, like rounded out, so they have put pressure. It's kind of like a locking washer system. But we have to take them off because the bolts we have aren't long enough. So you can get longer bolts, but I don't have them, so that's how we're going to do this. All right, so here's your X blades. They're not actually a blade, it's just a little adapter that hooks your two blades together. So as you can see, it's grooved out for a blade on this side, and it's grooved out for a blade on this side, and that's how they work. But one cross one the other. We'll put it together, we'll show you how that works. But so when they say X blades, it's not actually a blade, it's just this little adapter. We've used them before, so we're going to put them back on, and we're going to show you what setup we have. Now, this is what I call, or what is, a high lift blade with a long edge on it, opposed to what you would call a high lift blade with a shorter. As you can see, the fin is longer or shorter on that. So we're going to run the longer ones for fall, more high lift, and then we're going to run the mulching blade here. So we're gonna go like this. Now they say to run this blade on the bottom and to put your mulching blade on the top. Obviously you want to make sure you have them going in the correct direction. So when you flip it, which we'll figure that out, but it will be, you know, fins up in the right direction, and you want your mulching blade on the top and your high lift blade on the bottom. So this one will do most of your cutting, and then this will do the mulching. So that's how we're going to do the setup. We have run every combination of blade that you can imagine, with this one on the top, that one on the bottom, double mulching blades, you name it. We have tried the combination, and I don't know that one works any better than another, but this is the combination that we're going to use for the comparison today. So let's get that set up. Now, I am going to show you, sorry, best bet would probably be to get longer bolts. It's just something to bear in mind if you do this setup. So I don't have them. So we're taking the washer off, and we're just going to run it this way today, and that gives us enough thread up where it's on there secure. And the X thing, just like I said, it holds the blade from spinning on there. It's a pretty cool little setup. Like I said, high lift blade on the bottom, mulching blade on the top being closest to the top of the deck. And we're going to put them on. Like I said, we removed the washers because we didn't have a longer bolt, which is fine. We've run them this way 100 times. It's nice to have them, but you can get longer bolts if it bothers you. Let's get these installed, and let me show you a couple of pros and cons to the X blades when we install it. All right, so we have them installed on there. We have to tighten the bolts, but I'm going to show you one of the biggest pet peeves that I have with this setup. And I know there's an exception because we used to have an old Skag And Skag has a washer system that you can raise and lower your blades on the deck. So in other words, instead of just raising the deck up higher or lower, you can raise the blades or lower the blades inside the deck. And the reason that's really nice is because when you install the X blades on the deck, it now is lower than the edge of the deck. So what that means is when you go over like humps or uneven ground, it scalps the ground, meaning you're hitting the ground, it ruins the grass, it takes it out, and you're hitting the dirt with your blades, which is kind of bad too. So I'll show you exactly what that means, and I'll show you how, at least I don't have a fix for it on this type of machine, with the exception of the Skag that had the washer system where you could raise and lower. That was cool. This machine, I don't believe there is, unless there is one that I don't know of. By all means, tell me. Okay, so here's the setup, and this is what it looks like on the machine. The best I could do with the thing. So you're basically just running 6 blades instead of 3 blades. And that's how the setup works. That's how the bracket works right there. And like I said, we put our cutting blades, as they call it, our high lift blades on the bottom, and then our mulching blade on the top. That is how X-Blade or Ballard, whoever sells them, explains it to be the best way. Like I said, we've tried all these combinations. That's how we're running it. So let me get these tightened, and then let me show you what I'm talking about as far as the blade being lower than the edge of the deck. All right, folks, so bear with me while I try and explain this in case you didn't understand my explanation. I'm not always the best at that stuff, but here's the edge of your mowing deck. All right, so when you go over a hump in the lawn, an uneven ground, something like that, this part is going to guide onto the dirt, and your blade won't hit the dirt because it'll hit the guide here. Now you can raise or lower the wheels. I know you can do that. You could raise or lower the deck, but at some point in time, you're always going to hit a hump in the dirt where this part is going to hit the ground. As you can see, there's a lot of wear on it, and that's how it works. So now with the X-Blade system, this blade here is lower, at least probably a ½ inch, than where the blade would normally sit, which would be here. So let's see if the light's the best right there. So it's that much lower than where it sits on the spindle than where it would normally sit on the spindle. So with that being said, you bring your blade over here. I'm trying to use a file as a straight edge. So it's pretty much flush, but normally the blade would sit up higher on the deck and you wouldn't scalp the lawn. We're gonna go out and use these, and we're gonna show you what happens when you go over a hump. Like I said, that's just one of my pet peeves with the X-Blades, is how they sit on the mower deck. And when you're doing it on your own lawn, it's not really the end of the world, or you might know exactly where that hump is and not scalp the lawn. But when you do it professionally and people come out and say, what'd you do to my lawn? Why is there a big scalp spot in it? It becomes a problem. And like I said, it doesn't matter what height the deck is at, because you're going over a hump, and it does that. So without me rambling any longer on the stupid hump situation, let's try these X-Blades out and let's see what they do. And I'll give you my pros and cons on the blades, and then I'll show you, and then you tell me. Let's go.
Notice how much farther it throws the debris over the overlap on the lawn cutting with the X-Blades.
Okay, so I don't know about the sunlight, but now I ran 3 rows here. This is with the X-Blade setup, and it does a nice job. And now the big difference between the blades, let me flip this out and finish the lawn. There's a view from the other direction. It did a really nice job, and it definitely seemed to leave less leaves here than on the other side without. And I'll explain probably why it does that in a minute.
Again, notice how far it throws the debris, and you really can't get a heavier bit of mulched up leaves than where I'm cutting right now.
Okay, now here's the spot we did. I think there was a little bit more leaves on this particular spot, but anyway, I don't know if you can see in the ground, but it has really blown a lot of the excess mulch out of the way, opposed to with the other blades. And take a look the other way, same thing here. You can see there's a lot more mulch on this side than there was originally here in this spot. I mean, look down. It has blown the ground out pretty good. There's a lot of force with all those extra blades. Like you can see over here, a lot of the mulch it's gone. All right, so one of the big pros is, I don't know that it actually cuts better. I think there's 6 blades instead of 3, but the actual weight of having 6 blades spinning instead of 3 blades spinning creates a lot more force. It's a lot more airflow. So it's sucking a lot more air up and it's blowing a lot more air out when you're running the X blades. In fall time, it's probably a win, I would say. I would say thumbs up to the fall. It really does help with the mulching. And like I said, you're blowing that area out a lot more because of the force. I don't know that it's a cutting thing. I think it's just more airflow. Next we're gonna do is we're gonna start the machine with the blades on so you can listen and hear the difference between how much more energy it takes to spin those blades. And things like the clutch. Okay, so there's a brake on your clutch. So when you shut your blades off, there's a brake that rides. So when you're running the X blades, you want to lower the RPMs before you shut your blades on and off. One, when it's on, so it's not such a hard hit because it's a lot heavier, it's twice the weight. And same thing going off is so it doesn't burn your brake out, because now you have double the weight of the blades. It's going to take a lot more momentum to try and slow those down. So there's the wear and tear issue there. If you do it correctly, probably isn't an issue, but it does take a little bit extra time when you're slowing the machine down to turn the blades on and off. And a lot of times we're out on lawns and there's some kind of obstacle in the way. We have to shut the machine on or off or turn the blades. So a little bit of an extra headache, but let's check that out. And then we're going to go over the issue, like I was saying, about bottoming out on some of the humps. Let's check it out. Okay, now we moved over to a different spot because it's easier to show you guys. So here's the issue of the uneven ground sometimes where it scalps the lawn out. I'll show you two different examples of that. Let me check it out. Okay, here's one. I don't know if you can see or not, but this is some uneven ground, and it goes from that side and it goes down. So we're gonna mow over that once or twice, and we'll show you what it looks like. There's no scalps now. And then another spot, and here's another spot going around tree trunks. A lot of times the root is coming up, and as you spin around, you can catch the edge of stuff because the blade is sitting so much lower, so it like will dig in. So let's try that out and see how it goes. Okay, so I'm gonna try my best to show you, but like I said, in some of the spots, it scalps the lawn on the edge of the mower deck because it gets really low. And as you can see over here, this is kind of a hump area, and it has cut the grass pretty much down to like nothing right there. Same thing over here. You can see where the mower deck goes around, and with the blade being lower, it scalps it out. All right, another example, I'm not sure with the sun here, but over here is like a low spot, and you can see where the blade comes down here. It has scalped, I don't know if you can see it or not in the film, but it scalps the lawn out. So, you know, not the worst thing in the world, but it is just one of the cons with the X-Blade setup. And over here, not sure if you can see, but the edge of the mower deck will cut in and make a line. I know I'm probably being really particular here, but these are things sometimes your customers will point out to you. So all in all, that's my example on the X-Blades. Let's go over a couple of things that they're really good at, okay? They make and create so much more airflow that you are throwing a lot of grass farther, and it does distribute the grass a lot farther. So like, I don't have that example today because it's fall, but you get a lot of like heavy wet grass. Sometimes you get clumping when you know, just you can't help it. It just clumps the grass up, and then you got to like double cut. So with the X-Blades on there, it reduces the amount of clumping by a lot because it really fans the grass out, even when it's heavy wet grass. It does make a difference, so that's a good point. You know, for fall cleanups, I think they're great. They really do blow a whole lot of that mulch out of your way, and you could really clean up the area. Parts I don't like is, yeah, it's a lot more strain on the engine, on the clutch. I don't know if you could hear it very good in the video, but I can notice day or night if those X-Blades are on that machine or not. I would never have to look. I could just tell right away. And it does take another minute out of your day when you're running, slow the machine down, shut the blades on and off, blah, blah, blah. So those are just my opinions on there. I don't know that it cuts any grass better or it stripes anything better. I've never noticed a difference in any of that kind of stuff. But like I said, for the fall cleanups, they work really good. As far as the scalping of the lawn, these aren't the best examples, but there are other ones. I can't always just reproduce it, but I'm telling you that it does happen. So it's one of those things to look out for, or if you're really particular about your lawn, something you might want to just bear in mind. And I did adjust, in case someone did ask, I did adjust the mower deck 1/4 notch higher when I put the X-Blades on opposed to with them off to adjust the height where it cuts because they're a little lower. Okay, sorry, I had to get out of the sunlight. Really bright out there and I couldn't see what I was doing. But anyway, I think I've covered pretty much all the pros and cons to the X-Blade setup. If you are interested in them and you want to support the cause, the link is in the description for the blade brackets and the blades that we use. The link is also in that description. If you have any questions or comments on them, maybe I'm doing something wrong, please feel free. Put them in the comments down there. But all in all, thanks you guys so much for watching. Best of luck mowing. Peace.